Good afternoon. So it's been a while since like February that I recorded an episode. And uh yeah, I'm back for now. I definitely fell off, but I think a part of it I needed a break a little bit, but also I think trying to juggle what I want to do in life, or let me not say what I want to do in life, but what I want to do, which is like the podcast stuff and entrepreneurship, but also what I felt like I needed to do also, which was working and putting to use of my degree. So in turn, and my schedule was busy. Like I did a lot of traveling with work and stuff. So now it's slowed down. So I feel like I have the time to get back to recording and doing um other things I like to be doing and being creative. So, I'm hoping to get back to somewhat of a schedule of recording episodes and kind of going from there. So, this episode, I want to talk about, I would say like your calling versus what society says, or like what the sort of narrative is pushed in adulthood for us. And I think that relates to just kind of the reasoning why I wasn't doing the podcast for a while. In my opinion, I think your calling brings you joy and light, and it's a mix of easy but challenging, but it's something that's in your heart and your soul, so you don't mind the challenges, you don't mind the ups and downs, and you don't mind waiting, in a sense of like waiting for things to fall in place with it, because you're all in. And I think that sometimes things like your job and what society tells us is the route that we're supposed to go in our adult lives, those things can bring like temporary happiness, but they also bring about things like money and greed, and you can be driven by those things and not soulfully fulfilled, and it can feel like a distraction, emotionally and soulfully draining. I would say it's a distraction because a lot of the times it takes up at least, if you have a full-time job, that's 40 plus hours of your week, and we only get 7 days in the week. If 5 days of the week you're at this place for 8 plus hours of the day, that's a lot of your time. And like for me, I was working, going to the gym, and then by doing all that, it's like the day is really, really almost over and you're tired. And I don't really have the energy to do a podcast episode or even think about what I would want to do for an episode. And then you add in things like traveling, where I was traveling for a week, um, and just juggling life, like trying to get back on track after being unemployed for a long time. And I'm still getting back on track with that, but it's just a lot of factors, and everybody's thing is not the same. But that's just what I was dealing with and what I was going through, and currently still is. So um, that's really just why I took a step back from the podcast. I just felt like I couldn't give the the best version of it, and I wasn't motivated. I wasn't creatively motivated to do it. It was becoming, it was not even becoming, but I started to look at it as like a task that I had to get done versus like something that, I mean, in the beginning, like, and throughout the whole time, really, I was excited to do episodes. Sometimes I was even doing like more than one in a week. So I wanted to wait to get back to that feeling. So, I feel like I'm getting back to that now. I just had like a an idea that came to mind because I was listening to another podcast. Like I never stopped listening to podcasts, even though I stopped recording on mine. And it was talking about like things like your calling versus what like distractions. And kind of like I mentioned earlier, like how your job can be a distraction because if it's not your passion and something that you're called here to do, it's not, you're not always going to be happy there and it's not going to fulfill you. And that becomes draining and that starts to like impact how you move, how you think, and how you like take care of yourself. And then that also can make you feel like you're lost and um I just think throw you off track, I guess. And I think that that's definitely true because like I feel like when I feel out of alignment, it's usually because I'm not happy with the flow of life and what I'm doing. And something that's like I would say that would be kind of I enjoy the job that I have. Don't get me wrong. I just think that it's I feel out of alignment with it because it's not going how I thought it would or what I signed up for. I signed up to do a fellowship that had a certain track and the track hasn't been able to be completely honored and fulfilled. So that has put a damper on it, the experience, and it's started to feel or become a distraction because I'm trying to find like different ways of an outlet to still feel fulfilled in it and fulfilled in my life. And just had to like come to that realization that like the podcast is one of those things that can help me balance out when I'm feeling like I'm not being fulfilled in the job that I'm in right now. And it's also temporary. So I can't sit there and like harbor on it too much or make it feel like this is the end all be all because I actually saw a quote today that made me think of that. And it said, today's message, nothing is permanent. Don't stress yourself too much because no matter how bad the situation is, it will change. And that's really true. Like, no matter how bad or how medium, mid bad the situation is, it will always change. So just trying to stay positive in this time. And I'm just gonna read a couple of different like quotes that I found um, to kind of help with this message. Again, this is like your calling versus what society says and how to avoid distractions in life and make sure that you're living your truth, living your purpose and finding that for yourself and what really brings you soulful joy. So it says, not all storms come to disrupt your life. Some come to clear your path. Chaos isn't always destruction. Some storms rip apart illusions, clear dead weight, force change. Pain feels like an ending, but sometimes it's the beginning. You won't see it now, but when the dust settles, you'll realize some wreckage was just making room for better. So I like this because it's really true. Um, again, like not all storms come to disrupt your life. Sometimes it comes to clear your path. Sometimes you need that wake up call in your life to understand and realize like, hey, I've been living not even a lie, but I've been living out of alignment with my purpose. And maybe that's why I'm always tired and angry or frustrated or sad or confused or questioning myself because I'm not in alignment and I need to clear my path. And like it says, rip apart the illusions, clear the dead weight, force change. Um, and it's always making room for something better. So I've learned to, even though sometimes it's hard, like when things fall apart or you realize that this isn't working, whether it be a job, a relationship, a friendship, uh, a decision that you made, anything, like if something's not working, it doesn't mean it's the end all be all. It's just making room for something that does fit into your life and is like aligned with your life path. And so it's just we as humans have to be able to realize that and let the dust settle and make room for better. Don't hold attachments to things and people and ideas. Just let things flow in your life. So another one, it says, every test you face is preparing you for what you prayed for. So Yeah, life's gonna test you. Sometimes the tests come sporadically, sometimes they come back to back. And sometimes those tests they take a long time. It's a long exam. And again, just re you have to remind yourself that whatever you're going through, it's temporary, good or bad, right? Because good is temporary too. There's life's all about balance. So good has to outweigh the bad and vice versa. Um, but every test it's all a part of the plan. Like your life is already technically really planned out. So it's just you don't know the plan. Only your subconscious knows. And so that's why it's important to be in tune with yourself, your higher self, so that you can get a better idea of what it is that's for you and what your life path is, and including like the people that you should be around, and again, like the job you should be doing or your passions and where you should live, and what how your day to day should be, how your life should be, um, those things, like being more in tune with yourself to be able to recognize and live in your truth. And so, we're gonna have tests. Even if you're in alignment and you're on the right path, you're still gonna get tested because you're always gonna have, again, that balance of good outweighs the bad. So even if you are in good spirits, you have good energy, there's always gonna be that negative energy that's gonna try to mess up what you have and mess you up and throw you off your um, alignment. And so with those tests, they're unavoidable. It's just you have to be prepared for them and remain in that mindset that like where I am is where I'm supposed to be. Everything is happening how it's supposed to be. Even if you don't understand it and you don't agree with it, you have to remind yourself that this is what it's supposed to be. Maybe not forever, but for the time being. So, with that being said, well, how can I learn from this experience right now? How can I learn from where I am right now so that I can get to where I feel like I'm supposed to be? Um, and so that's hard too, because again, those tests can be a long one, or it can be a short one, or it could be one that maybe you almost pass, and so you get tested again, or you pass, and sometimes we question ourselves as human, like whether we're doing the right thing. And sometimes when that happens, I feel like it's usually because what we have to do is not matching with what we want to do in our hearts, and so it's hard to let go. And that's why it feels like a test. And but you have to look on the other side of it. It's like, are you willing to give up what you want for what is meant for you? Like that's a really good question, I feel. Like, are you willing to give up what you want and your heart's desire for what is meant for you and your soul's desire? And being able to recognize the difference of the two. And in my opinion, like what your heart's desire sometimes is usually ego driven. What your soul's desire is what your soul purpose, what your calling is, and what your higher self is trying to get you to do, because your higher self already knows the story and is trying to like help you live through what you're supposed to be doing. That makes sense. So, yeah, every test that you face is preparing you for what you prayed for. You just have to believe that and get through it. So another one says, everything happens for a reason. The highs, the lows, the wins, the losses, the people who come in and the ones who leave. None of it is random. Every moment carries a lesson. Every lesson is guiding you closer to your purpose. So when life feels heavy, pause, breathe, and remember there's meaning in this too. Life isn't just a series of random events, it's a journey of growth, lessons, and divine timing. Every person you meet, every challenge you face, every joy you feel is part of a bigger picture that's unfolding for your highest good. When things feel overwhelming, remember this moment has meaning. The pain is shaping your strength, the delays are protecting your path, and the detours, they're leading you exactly where you need to be. Trust the process, trust your journey. You're not lost, you're being guided. So I love that part of it saying you're not lost, you're being guided, because a lot of the times, And I feel like that sometimes too, where I feel like I'm lost, or I feel like, man, like this doesn't seem like where I'm supposed to be doing or where I'm supposed to be. But I think those are the times when you really are exactly where you're supposed to be because I feel like in those instances is usually when, like I said, like it's not matching up to the idea that I put in my head or the the road that I thought I was going to be on or the things that are going to happen the way that I thought. It's unfolding how it's supposed to be, not how I thought it was going to be. And in that, learning to trust yourself that it's you're still going to be okay. Like it's all going to still come together. And even if it doesn't come together in the way that you've pictured it, it's coming together in the way that you know is the right way for you, deep down in your heart and your soul. And that's not easy. It's not easy because there's always that possibility that what's for you might not, I want to say it might not fulfill like your desire. Well, I think it won't fill your heart's desire, but it'll fulfill your soul's desire. And maybe right now those two things aren't on the same page, but it doesn't mean that, I think that if you're open and you're more you have more of a desire to be aligned in life versus get what you want, then you'll be able to adjust to what is meant for you. Even if it doesn't match what you had in your idea of what it was going to be. So I think with that comes surrendering and trusting in yourself, trusting in whatever it is that you believe in, and just really feeling like everything's going to work out because everything is going to work out. Everything is always coming together how it's supposed to, whether you try to resist it or you go with the flow. Either way, it's still going to happen. And it's just going to be up to you whether you want to resist and cause more problems for yourself and more headache and more stress for yourself. And in a sense, kind of delay the change or the things that are unfolding versus just going with it and, accepting what it is. And that doesn't mean that you don't put any effort into life and like trying to get the things that you want. It's just you put in the effort, but you also know there's that percentage that, like, hey, what I think is right for me might not actually be right because we can't see a day ahead, a week ahead, a month ahead, a year ahead, 3 years ahead, 5 years ahead. We don't know what that brings. We know we want it to bring, but we don't know what it brings, and we don't know what we're being saved from in the delay. We don't know what we are preventing ourselves to be hurt from in the detour. So even when things like that happen and it's not the best feeling in the world, you still should say thank you because you have to realize that it's all for your calling and all for your greater good and for your, yeah, like what you're meant to be, where you're meant to be, your life's calling. So, um, try to be more open to that and thankful for, you know, the things that happen in your life. I'm trying to think. I think that's kind of all that I wanted to say. Is just that again, like bear with me. I'm really trying to get back into podcasting and like finding my motivation for it again. It's not that I don't know. It's not that I wasn't motivated. It's just feeling like again, like I was kind of out of alignment or needing to take part of it was like needing to take a break. Part of it was busy scheduling and just being exhausted. And then also needing to readjust my mindset and get back to doing what I enjoy doing. And being okay with what that looks like and what things look like currently and what they're going to come to be looking like. So, another form of like releasing and um, living in my purpose and my truth, and even accepting what that looks like today and currently this year, and then how though that's going to change within time too. Everything changes, and what's for me will be for me. And I can't worry about what that looks like right now. I just have to keep going with the flow, and so do you. So it's not easy, especially with everything that's going on in our world and how things can change in the blink of an eye, but we just have to keep going the course and trust that it's all going to come together and this is all a part of the plan. And the more you can be understanding of that, that it's all a part of the plan. It's all a part of the plan. Then at least, even if it doesn't bring you complete comfort, at least it can try to, shift your mindset a little bit. And that's what it's all about too. Like your mindset. Your mindset is very powerful in situations, whether good or bad, change or just steady flow. Like your mind is very powerful. That's something that people have to understand is that the way you think, what you say to yourself, what you tell yourself, what you believe is very impactful, not only to your spirit, but also just like your path too. Because if you're mentally not ready for what you say you're praying for and what you want, then you're not going to, it's not going to conspire together until you're ready mentally, also, and spiritually, emotionally too. So being mindful of that and trying to remain positive, it's hard, I know, but trying to stay optimistic, trying to stay positive, because that plays a role in how fast things come together for you or what your delays may be too. So I hope this was helpful. I hope, you guys still remember me. And I'll try to, like I said, stay with it. And, again, like if there's any topics that you think that you want to hear from me, any people that you want to, excuse me, hear me interview, I would like to get back to doing that too. Um, Yeah, so I will post this on social media on my different social media avenues, and I think I'm gonna try to do a new thing. Um, is adding to my like episode postings are I listen to music a lot. I like usually on my regular page, my personal page on Instagram, I share music like pretty much, if not every day, then definitely like every other day. And I listen to like all kinds of music. I listen to popular music or things that maybe a lot of people don't know. So a lot of the times people will message me and say like, oh, they never heard this or they like that I share music because it helps them find new stuff. And so I thinking that might be something that I'm going to add to the podcast episodes too, on the page, my Instagram page, like just share like a couple of songs that I'm currently listening to and stuff like that. So I'm going to try that this episode and see if it works, if my idea, what I have in my head, if I can do it outside of that with the music thing, then I will do that. So, um, anyway, as always, I am your host Chanel. This is Black Hippie Lounge, and thank you for listening. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for supporting in any way that you do. It's very much appreciated. It doesn't go unnoticed. And I hope that you are enjoying your day and your week and your time so far. Summers are coming, so I'm excited. And as always, meditate, manifest, invest in you, and take care.